The degraded dynasties of Kali Yuga. The 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam begins with Srila Sukadeva Goswami predicting the kings of the earth who will appear in the future during the age of Kali. Then he gives a description of the numerous faults of the age, after which the presiding goddess of the earth sarcastically berates the foolish members of the kingly order who perpetually try to conquer her. Next, Sukadeva Goswami explains the four varieties of material annihilation, and then he gives his final advice to Maharaja Parikshit. Thereafter, King Parikshit is bitten by the snake bird Takshaka and leaves this world. Suta Goswami concludes this narration of Srimad Bhagavatam to the sages at Naimisaranya forest by enumerating the teachers of the various branches of the Vedas and Puranas, relating the pious history of Markandeya Rishi, glorifying the Supreme Lord in his universal form and in his expansion as the Sun God, summarizing the topics discussed in this literature and offering final benedictions and prayers. The first chapter of this canto briefly describes the future kings of the dynasty of Magadha and how they become degraded because of the influence of the age of Kali. There were 20 kings who ruled in the family of Puru in the dynasty of the sun god, counting from Uparichara Vasu to Puranjaya. After Puranjaya, the lineage of this dynasty will become corrupted. Following Puranjaya, there will be 5 kings known as Pradyothanas, who are then followed by the Shishunagas, the Mauryas, the Shungas, the Kanvas, 30 kings of Andhra nation, 7 Abhiras, 10 Gardabis, 16 Kankas, 8 Yavanas, 14 Turushkas, 10 Gurundas, 11 Maulas, 5 Kila monarchs, and 13 Balikas. After this, different regions will be ruled over at the same time by 7 Andhra kings, 7 Kaushalas, the kings of Vidura and the Nishadas. Then the power of rulership in the countries of Magadha and so forth will fall to kings who are no better than Shudras and Mlechas and are totally absorbed in irreligion. So Magadha is Bihar. So I don't know, Lallu comes under which one? Because while Sri Shuka Uvacha Yontya Puranja Yo Nama Bhavishyo Barha Dhritaha तस्यामत्मात्यस्तु शुनको हत्वा स्वामिनम् आत्मजं प्रद्योता संज्ञं राजानं कर्ता यत् पालकसुत विशाख विशाखयूपस्तत्पुत्रो भविता rajakastata. Sukadeva Goswami said, the last king mentioned in our previous enumeration of the future rulers of Magadha dynasty was Puranjaya, who will take birth as the descendant of Brihadratha. Puranjaya's minister Shunaka will assassinate the king and install his own son Pradyota on the throne. The son of Pradyota will be Palaka, his son will be Vishaka Yupa, and his son will be Rajaka. Purport. The vicious political intrigue described here is symptomatic of the age of Kali. In the 9th canto of this work, Sukadeva Goswami describes how the great rulers of men descended from 2 royal dynasties, that of the sun and that of the moon. The 9th canto's description of Lord Ramachandra, a most famous incarnation of God, occurs in this genealogical narration. And at the end of the 9th canto, Shukadeva describes the forefathers of Lord Krishna and Lord Balarama. Finally, the appearance of Lord Krishna and that of Lord Balarama are mentioned within the context of the narration of the Moon dynasty. The 10th canto is devoted exclusively to a description of Lord Krishna's childhood pastimes in Vrindavana, his teenage activities in Mathura, and his adult activities in Dwaraka. The famous epic Mahabharata also describes the events of this period, focusing upon the 5 Pandava brothers and their activities in relation with Lord Krishna and other leading historical figures such as Bhishma, Dhritarashtra, Dronacharya, and Vidura. Within the Mahabharata is Bhagavad Gita, in which Lord Krishna is declared to be the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam, of which we are presently translating the 12th and final canto, is considered a more advanced literature than the Mahabharata, because throughout the entire work, Lord Sri Krishna, the absolute truth and supreme source of all existence, is directly, centrally, and irrefutably revealed. In fact, the first canto of Bhagavatam describes how Sri Vyasadeva composed this great work because he was dissatisfied with his rather sporadic glorification of Lord Krishna in Mahabharata. So, Bhagavatam is far more elevated than Mahabharata because here complete glorification of Krishna. Although Srimad Bhagavatam narrates the histories of many royal dynasties and the lives of innumerable kings, not until the description of the present age, the age of Kali, do we find a minister assassinating his own king and installing his son on the throne. This incident resembles Dhritarashtra's attempt to assassinate the Pandavas and crown his son Duryodhana king. It's even worse because it's his own brother's sons. As the Mahabharata describes, Lord Krishna thwarted this attempt, but with the departure of the Lord for the spiritual sky, the age of Kali became fully manifested, ushering in political assassination within one's own house as a standard technique. So that's how degraded Kali Yuga has become. Because earlier everybody was very God conscious, and we don't hear of any instance in which the commander-in-chief or his assistant or someone plotted and killed the king and put his own son. Normally among the Muslims, this is very common. The father itself kills the son. In the case of, who was it? Shah Jahan. No, Akbar.
Aurangzeb,
Akbar.
Mataji. Aurangzeb, I think he
No,
put his
no.
father in jail.
That is there. He put his father in jail. But Akbar, he don't want his Shah Jahan's name was Khusro, na? Or Jahangir. Who's first? Jahangir. Jahangir, uh, actually, he was like a threat to Akbar. And no, Jahangir's father, I think, he, Kushro or something, and he actually imprisoned him and he wanted to install the son, his son, as this thing. But the father, or maybe it is Jahangir's son. Oh, yeah. Jahangir, I mean, Akbar did not want Jahangir. He wanted to install Jahangir's son on the throne, and Jahangir put his son, first son, Khusro, to death, and then he became king. So, like this, horrible. There's no sanctity at all. And then they kill each other, brothers, father, son, everything. And here, even within the Hindus also, it was happening. I mean, not on such a rampant this thing. And this guy, I mean, Mahabharata is also just within the family. That is, of course, extended family. You can say a little more distant, but still, it is horrible. Brothers, children, you want to kill them so that your own son can become king. And so Mahabharata is full of all these kind of intrigues and politics and all that. And just a little bit of only Krishna is revealed about his greatness. So that is why Vyasadeva was feeling so dissatisfied. And that's why with Narada Muni's instructions, he started writing Srimad Bhagavatam. And there, even though so many lives of innumerable kings are described, but in all those cases, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is avatars, how he comes and what is the, how he is involved in the setting everything right, and his relationship with the devotees. So this is pure Bhagavatam, describes Krishna. Whereas in Mahabharata, everything, it's all these intrigues completely. Um, but of course, yeah, in Mahabharata, Krishna is declared to be the absolute truth. And this 12th canto is considered more advanced because here completely it is established about Krishna's supremacy. Nandivardhanasthatputra panchapradhyotana ime ashtatrimshottara shatam bhokshyanti prithvim nripa. The son of Rajaka will be Nandivardhana, and thus in the Pradyotana dynasty there'll be 5 kings who will enjoy the earth for 138 years. Shishunagastato bhavya kakavarnastu tatsutha Kshema dharma tasya sutha kshetrajna kshema dharmaja. Nandivardhana will have a son named Shishunaga, and his son will be known as Kakavarna. The son of Kakavarna will be Kshema Dharma, and the son of Kshema Dharma will be Kshetrajna. Vidishara sutastasya jatashatrur bhavishyati darbakastatsuto bhavi darbakasya jayasmrita. The son of Kshetrajna will be Vidisara, and his son will be Ajatashatru. Ajatashatru will have a son named Darbaka, and his son will be Ajaya. Nandivardhana ajeyo Mahanadi Sutasthatha Shishunagar Dashaivaite Shashti Uttara Shatatrayam Samabhokshanti Prithvim Kurushreshta Kalau Nripa Mahanandi Suto Rajan Shudra Garbhodbhavo Bali Mahapadmapati Kaschin Nandakshatra Vinashakrit Tato Nripa Bhavishyanti Shudra Prayastva Adharmika. Ajaya will father a second Nandivardhana, whose son will be Mahanandi. O best of the Kurus, these 10 kings of the Shishunaga dynasty will rule the earth for the total of 360 years during the age of Kali. My dear Parikshit, King Mahanandi will father a very powerful son in the womb of a Shudra woman. He will be known as Nanda and will be the master of millions of soldiers and fabulous wealth. He will wreak havoc among the Kshatriyas, and from that time onward, virtually all kings will be irreligious Shudras. I wonder if it is the same Nanda who was there during Chanakya's time. Chanakya overthrew Nanda and he established Chandragupta Maurya. I don't know if it's that. Here is a description of how authentic political authority degenerated and disintegrated throughout the world. There is a supreme Godhead, and there are saintly, powerful men who have taken the role of government leaders and represented that Godhead on earth. With the advent of the age of Kali, however, this transcendental system of government collapsed, and unauthorized, uncivilized men gradually took the reins of power. स एकच्छत्रां पृथ्वीम् अनुलङ्घितशासन शासिष्यति Mahapadmo Dvitiya iva Bhargava. That Lord of Mahapadma, King Nanda, will rule over the entire earth just like a second Parashurama, and no one will challenge his authority. In the 8th verse of this chapter, it is mentioned that King Nanda would destroy the remnants of the Kshatriya order. Therefore, he is here compared to Lord Parashurama, who annihilated the Kshatriya class 21 times in a previous age. So he will also kill, but not for a good purpose. Parashurama wanted to eliminate the bad elements, but here for his own aggrandizement. And from that time, because he killed all the strong people, all the kings would be irreligious Shudras. He will have 8 sons headed by Sumalia, who will control the earth as powerful kings for 100 years. Navanandan Dvijakaschit Prapannan Udarishyati Tesham Abhave Jagatim Maurya Bokshanti Vaikalau. It is that Nanda who was there during Chanakya's time, and Chanakya only helped to remove him and put Maurya, this Chandragupta. A certain Brahmana, Chanakya, will betray the trust of King Nanda and his 8 sons and will destroy their dynasty. In their absence, The Mauryas will rule the world as the age of Kali continues. Just see, Srimad Bhagavatam is predicting the kings who will rule. And then the Chandragupta Maurya, Chanakya, all of them are predicted. Sridhara Swami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura both confirm the Brahmana mentioned here is Chanakya, also known as Kautilya or Vatsyayana. The great historical narration Srimad Bhagavatam, which began with the events prior to the cosmic manifestation, now reaches into the realm of modern recorded history. So we can have complete faith in the Srimad Bhagavatam that is authentic. Modern historians recognize both the Maurya dynasty and Chandragupta, the king mentioned in the following verse. Sa eva Chandraguptam vai Vijorajye abhishekyati tatsuto varisarastu tatas chaso kavardhana. This Brahmana will enthrone Chandragupta, whose son will be named Varisara. The son of Varisara will be Ashokavardhana. See, so precise the names of the people who are going to come. And this Nanda, he is mentioned to be very, very powerful. And he was really, sort of ruling with so much of control, and everybody was suffering so much, and he didn't care for the country. And that is when, and at the same time, this Alexander was also attacking. It was all at the same time. And Nanda, he was, I think, he was not bothered about defending the country and all that. I don't know what he was planning, whether to have a truce with Alexander, but Chanakya removed him. He was very, very powerful, but Chanakya somehow managed to remove him. Then Ashoka Vardhana will be followed by Suyasha, whose son will be Sangata, his son will be Salisuka, and Shalisuka's son will be Soma Sharma. Soma Sharma's son will be Satadhanva. His son will be known as Brihadrata. O best of the Kurus, these 10 Maurya kings will rule the earth for 137 years of the Kali Yuga. Although 9 kings are mentioned by name, Dasharatha appeared after Sujeshta before the rule of Sangata, and thus there are 10 Maurya kings. Agnimitrastastasmat Sujeshto bhavita tata Vasumitro Badrakascha Pulindo bhavita sutha tato ghosha sutastasmat Vajramitro bhavishyati tato bhagavatastasmat Devabhuti kurudvaha. Sunga दास इते भोक्ष्यन्ति भूमिं वर्षशताधिकं ततः कान्वन् इयं भूमिर्यास्यति अल्पगुणान् नृप. My dear King Parikshit, Agnimitra will follow as king, and then Sujeshta. Sujeshta will be followed by Vasumitra, Badraka, and the son of Badraka, Pulinda. Then the son of Pulinda named Ghosha will rule, followed by Vajramitra, Bhagavata, and Devabhuti. In this way, O most eminent of the Kuru heroes, 10 Sunga kings will rule over the earth for more than 100 years. Then the earth will come under the subjugation of the kings of the Kanva dynasty, who will manifest very good qualities. According to Sridhara Swami, the Shunga dynasty began when General Pushpamitra killed his king Brihadrata and assumed power. After Pushpamitra came Agnimitra and the rest of the Shunga dynasty, which lasted for 112 years. Shungam hatva devabhutim kanvo matyas tukaminam swayam karishyate rajyam Vasudevo Mahamati. Vasudeva, an intelligent minister coming from the Kanva family, will kill the last of the Shunga kings, a lusty debauchee named Devabhuti, and assume rulership himself. Apparently, because King Devabhuti was lusty after the wives of other men, his minister killed him, assuming leadership and thus beginning the Kanva dynasty. So the Shunga dynasty, the last was the Devabhuti. He did it because the king was useless. Tasya putrastu bhumitras tasya narayana sutha kanvayana ime bhumim chatvarim satyapan panchacha. The son of Vasudeva will be Bhumitra, and his son will be Narayana. These kings of the Kanva dynasty will rule the earth for 345 more years of the Kali Yuga, and they are supposed to be good. The last of the Kanvas, Susharma, will be murdered by his own servant, Bali, a low class Shudra of the Andhra race. This most degraded Maharaja Bali will have control over the earth for some time. Here is a further description of how uncultured men infiltrated government administration. The so called king named Bali is described as Asattama, a most impious, uncultured man. Krishnamata tad भ्राता भविता पृथ्वीपति श्री शान्तकर्णस्तत्पुत्र पौर्णमासस्तु तत्सुत लम्बोदरस्तु तत्पुत्रस्तस्मात् चिबिलको नृप मेघस्वातिश्चिबिलकात् आत्मानस्तु तस्य च अनिष्टकर्मा हालेयस्तलकस्तस्य चात्मज पूरी सभीरुस्तत्पुत्रस्ततो राजा सुनन्दना चकोरो बहवो यत्र शिवस्वातिररिन्दम तस्यापि गोमती पुत्र पूरिमान् भविता तथा मेधाशिरा शिवस्कन्दो यज्ञश्रीस्तत्सुतस्तथा विजयस्तत्सुतो भाव्याश्चन्द्रविज्ञ सलोमधि एते त्रिंशान् नृपतयस् चत्वारि अब्दसातिनि च षट्पञ्चशच्च पृथ्वीं भोक्षयन्ति कुरुनन्दना. The brother of Bali named Krishna, that is that low class servant who killed the king, will become the next ruler of the earth. His son will be Shantakarna, and his son will be Paurnamasa. The son of Paurnamasa will be Lambodara, who will father Maharaja Chibilaka. From Chibilaka will come Meghaswati, whose son will be Atamana. Son of Atamana will be Anishtakarma. His son will be Haliya, and his son will be Talaka. The son of Talaka will be Biru. Following him, Sunandana will become king. Sunandana will be followed by Chakora and the 8 Bahus, among them Shivaswati will be a great subduer of enemies. The son of Shivaswati will be Gomati. His son will be Puriman, whose son will be Medashira. His son will be Shivaskanda, and his son will be Yagnashri. The son of Yagnashri will be Vijaya, who will have 2 sons, Chandravigna and Lomati. These 30 kings will enjoy sovereignty over the earth for a total of 456 years, O favorite son of Kurus. Then will follow 7 kings of the Abira race. That is why all these Pulinda, Pulakasha, Abira, Khasa, all these races are mentioned, which are fallen. Then they are all these are. Then will follow 7 kings of the Abira race from the city of Avabhriti, and then 10 Gardabis. After them, 16 kings of the Kankas will rule and will be known for their excessive greed. 8 Yavanas will then take power, followed by 14 Turushkas, 10 Gurundas, 11 kings of the Maula dynasty. These Abiras, Gardabis, and Kankas will enjoy the earth for 1099 years, and the Maulas will rule for 300 years. When all of them have died off, they will appear in the city of Kila, a dynasty of kings consisting of Bhutananda, Vangiri, Shishunandi's brother Yashonandi, and Praviraka. These kings of Kila will hold sway for a total of 106 years. The Kilas will be followed by the 13 sons, the Balikas, and after them King Pushpamitra, his son Durmitra, 7 Andhras, 7 Kausalas, and also kings of the Vidura and Nishada provinces will separately rule in different parts of the world. Magadhanam tu bhavita Vishwaspurji Puranjaya Karishyati Aparo Varnan Pulinda Yadumadrakan. There'll then appear a king of Magadhas named Vishwaspurji, who will be like Another Puranjaya, he will turn all the civilized classes into low class, uncivilized men in the same category as the Pulindas, Yadus, and Madrakas. Foolish King Vishwaspurji will maintain all the citizens in ungodliness and will use his power to completely disrupt the Kshatriya order. From his capital of Padmavati, he will rule that part of the earth extending from the source of Ganga to Prayaga. So, source of Ganga from the Himalayas up to Prayag or Allahabad. So, entire northern belt. No wonder because the Hindu kings were very much weakened by godlessness, and that is why the Mughals came and conquered very easily. At that time, the Brahmanas of such provinces as Saurashtra, Avanti, Abhira, Sura, Arbuda, and Malava will forget all their regulative principles, and the members of the royal order in these places will become no better than Shudras. The land along the Sindhu River, as well as the districts of Chandrabhaga, Kaunti, and Kashmira, will be ruled by Shudras, fallen Brahmanas, and meat eaters. Having given up the path of Vedic civilization, they will have lost all spiritual strength. There'll be many such uncivilized kings ruling at the same time, O King Parikshit, and they will all be uncharitable, possessed of fierce tempers, and great devotees of irreligion and falsity. These barbarians, in the guise of kings, will devour the citizenry, murdering innocent women, children, cows, and brahmanas, and coveting the wives and property of other men. They'll be erratic in their moods, have little strength of character, and be very short lived. Indeed, not purified by any Vedic rituals and lacking in the practice of regulative principles, they'll be completely covered by the modes of passion and ignorance. These verses give a concise, accurate description of the fallen leaders of this age. The citizens governed by these low class kings will imitate the character, behavior, and speech of their rulers. Harassed by their leaders and by each other, they will all suffer ruination. At the end of the ninth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that Ripunjaya or Puranjaya, the first king mentioned in this chapter, ended his rule about 1000 years after the time of Lord Krishna. Since Lord Krishna appeared approximately 5000 years ago, Puranjaya must have appeared about 4000 years ago. That would mean that Vishwaspurji, the last king mentioned, would have appeared approximately in the 12th century of the Christian era. Very, contemporary, 12th century. Modern Western scholars have made false accusation that Indian religious literature has no sense of chronological history, but the elaborate historical chronology described in this chapter certainly refutes that naive assessment. And thus end the purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to the 12th canto, first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Degraded Dynasties of Kali Yuga. Now, chapter 2, we're going to see the symptoms of Kali Yuga. This chapter relates that when the bad qualities of the age of Kali will increase to an intolerable level, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will descend as Kalki to destroy those who are fixed in irreligion. After that, a new Satya Yuga will begin. As the age of Kali progresses, all good qualities of men diminish and all impure qualities increase. Atheistic systems of so-called religion become predominant, replacing the codes of Vedic law. The kings become just like highway bandits. The people in general become dedicated to low occupations. And all the social classes become just like Shudras. All cows become like goats. All spiritual hermitages become like materialistic homes. And family ties extend no further than the immediate relationship of marriage. When the age of Kali has almost ended, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will incarnate. He will appear in the village Sambhala in the home of the exalted Brahmana Vishnu Yasha and will take the name Kalki. He will mount his horse, Devadatta, and taking his sword in hand, will roam about the earth, killing millions of bandits in the guise of kings. Then the signs of the next Satya Yuga will begin to appear. When the moon, sun, and the planet Brihaspati enter simultaneously into one constellation and conjoin in the lunar mansion Pushya, Satya Yuga will begin. In that order of Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, the cycle of 4 ages rotates in the society of living entities in this universe. The chapter ends with a brief description of the future dynasties of the sun and moon coming from Vaivasvata Manu in the next Satya Yuga. Even now, 2 saintly Kshatriyas are living who, at the end of this Kali Yuga, will reinitiate the pious dynasties of the sun god Vivaswan and the moon god Chandra. One of these kings is Devapi, a brother of Maharaja Shantanu, and the other is Maru, a descendant of Ikshvaku. They are biding their time incognito in a village named Kalapa. See, that also it's described. I don't know where this village is, Kalapa, and these two people are there. He is the brother of Maharaja Shantanu. Imagine, from that time he is living here. And the other is Maru, a descendant of Ikshvaku. That is in from Treta Yuga, they are there. They are biding their time. They are hiding incognito in a village named Kalapa. So many such characters are still living. Ashwatthama is also wandering around doing his penance. Some people have cited him somewhere in North India. He's doing tapasya, so he goes to a temple every morning to do worship. And after the entire Kali Yuga, he has done his penance and purified himself. Then he'll be given a chance in Satya Yuga to be like a saint, and inspiring people and so on. He will do religious activities. And then, of course, we have Hanumanji still there, Vyasadev, Parashurama, Naranarayan Rishi, so many people still here. Sri Sukha Uvacha Tataschanudhinam dharma satyam shaucham kshamadaya kalena balina rajan nangshyati ayur bhalam smriti. Shukadeva Goswami said, then, O king, religion, truthfulness, cleanliness, tolerance, mercy, duration of life, physical strength, and memory will all diminish day by day because of the powerful influence of the age of Kali. During the present age, Kali Yuga, practically all desirable qualities will gradually diminish, as described in this verse. For example, dharma, which indicates a respect for higher authority that leads one to obey religious principles, will diminish. That came actually with the influence of other cultures. As it is, our own kings were degenerating. On top of that, they were still a little better than Western culture. And that is why Chanakya was very, very disturbed. At that time, only when he saw that Alexander was coming and, he was invading, and he was very worried. And that's why he united many kings, and they, otherwise, what was happening was he was trying to play against, just like the British, he was trying to, create enmity, or if there was already such rivalry and all that, he used somebody's friendship to attack the other kingdom and all this. And at this time, that is where Chanakya played a vital role in stopping this one's advancement through all his, plotting and scheming, his Chanakya Niti, and that is where he made sure that made sure that Alexander would not conquer India. And Alexander also left anyway. He was tired, and somehow he was stopped also. He defeated Porus, but then I don't remember the exact full history at that time. What happened? Who was the one who stopped him? Which king? And then he anyway went away. That was good. But it only, afterwards, again, when the Mughals came, the Turks came, and then the Mughals came, and then the British came. So then all those influences made the Indian civilization go further. I mean, completely, people became so degraded, lost all God consciousness. And it's saying, O king, religion, truthfulness, cleanliness, tolerance, mercy, duration of life, physical strength, and memory will all diminish day by day because of the powerful influence of the age of Kali. And is saying that all desirable qualities will gradually diminish well, not gradually, very quickly it's declining. For example, dharma, which indicates a respect for higher authority that leads one to obey religious principles, will diminish. And we can see that because in the Western culture, there's nothing like that. Listening to authority and respecting your teachers or parents, I mean, higher, it doesn't exist at all. And everyone thinks, I mean, their philosophy also, they've created their own philosophy, that right to happiness, and you don't need to listen to anyone. So imagine, and all the Indians, these things they will learn very quickly, fast. They have some good qualities also. They are very disciplined and following rules outside, not authority and all that, but if there are some social norms and some discipline and all that, they do that. So we won't learn all those things, we'll only learn all these bad things. And so the it is their respect for higher authority that leads one to obey religious principles will diminish. It's almost gone now. In the Western world, theologians have been unable to scientifically present the laws of God, or indeed God himself. And thus, in Western intellectual history, a rigid dichotomy has arisen between theology and science in an attempt, because they cannot explain all these things, laws of God and God, they don't know. So, because of that, science is a big challenge for them. In an attempt to resolve this conflict, some theologians have agreed to modify their doctrines so that they conform not only to proven scientific facts, but even to pseudo-scientific speculations and hypotheses, which, though unproven, are hypocritically included within the realm of science. On the other hand, some fanatical theologians disregard the scientific method altogether and insist on the veracity of their antiquated sectarian dogmas. So that's happening in Western religion. Some people are changing their theology itself, religious things, to suit, to be on par with the scientific truths. Otherwise, people will question why you're saying like this. Science is proving something else. Or some others, they don't care, they rigidly follow this, and so people are losing faith because they can't explain anything, and then um, they'll be fanatic. Thus, bereft of systematic Vedic theology, material science has moved into the destructive realm of gross materialism, while speculative Western philosophy has drifted into the superficiality of relativistic ethics and inconclusive linguistic analysis. So, material science is bent on proving there is no God, it is just material things which exist, and we are discovering it. And we, in the future, through more and more research, we'll make sure that nobody dies. All, you know, just promises, empty promises. And religion itself, the Western religion, is very drifted into superficiality of relativistic ethics and inconclusive linguistic analysis. So there we can see that every now and then they will have a debate. It's all relative ethics. The Pope will go there and he will decide whether you should allow abortion or not, whether you should allow what else? Gays, like this. They will take a vote on that, and depending on, people can a sort of arm twist, no, we are not going to follow, we'll not, then we'll drop out of Christianity. So they're scared, oh my God, okay, we will allow. So this kind of relativistic ethics, With so many of the best Western minds dedicated to materialistic analysis, naturally much of Western religious life, separated from the intellectual mainstream, is dominated by irrational fanaticism and unauthorized mystic and mystery cults. So they are separated from the intellectuals mainstream. And because of that, it's become very fanatical. So, and most of the best minds are in after scientific truths, and they are intellectuals. And so the religious people are those dominated by irrational fanaticism and unauthorized mystic and mystery cults. We know they have something like speaking through the tongue and all that mystic things. People, I mean, like, they'll claim that somebody is speaking through me, and they will give predictions. That is not religion. That we also have. People have become so ignorant of the science of God that they often lump the Krishna conscious movement in with this odd assortment of fanciful attempts at theology and religion. Thus, dharma or true religion, which is strict and conscious obedience to God's law, is diminishing. Satyam, truthfulness, is also diminishing simply because people do not know what the truth is. Without knowing the absolute truth, one cannot clearly understand the real significance or purpose of life merely by amassing huge quantities of relative or hypothetical truths. Relative truths, something which is, you know, uh, temporary, material things. But somebody may be, okay, they may think that, like Gandhiji, for example, he spoke about truth and ahimsa and all that. And what was his truth? His truth was you should not say something which is there, and you should not change it. And, you should admit you have a weakness. You can't cover it up and, pretend that you don't have, like that, speaking the words truthfully. But that is only relative, because the absolute, in terms of his surrender to Krishna, is far behind. So that is only relative truth. So, if you don't know what is the absolute truth, one cannot clearly understand the real significance or purpose of life. That's why he didn't know what was the purpose of life and all that. And he also didn't know the scriptures properly. It is all speculation. Kshama, tolerance, or forgiveness is diminishing as well, because there is no practical method by which people can purify themselves and thus become free of envy. Unless one is purified by chanting the holy names of the Lord in an authorized program of spiritual improvement, the mind will be overwhelmed by anger, envy, and all sorts of small mindedness. And we see that every day, my God, in the paper, every day, crazily attacking people, killing them for no reason. I don't know. Some envy, some anger, very petty mindedness. Thus, daya, mercy, is also decreasing. All living beings are eternally connected by their common participation in the divine existence of God. When this existential oneness is obscured through atheism and agnosticism, people are not inclined to be merciful to one another. They cannot recognize their self interest in promoting the welfare of other living beings. So, that is the wonderful thing. When we are living in awareness of Krishna, then we know that if we work for the welfare of others, our own welfare is taken care, because whatever we give always comes back to us. So that is because we are God conscious. We understand God is watching, isn't, and He's the one who gives the results of everybody's work. And so if He's very pleased if we are working for the welfare of others, and then He takes personal care. So in this way, everybody is thinking. I mean, it's not just now fruitively like that, but then the more we display selflessness, we are rewarded, because it's a spiritual thing. It's very pure, divine existence. In fact, people are no longer even merciful to themselves. They systematically destroy themselves through liquor, drugs, tobacco, meat eating, sexual promiscuity, and whatever other cheap gratificatory processes are available to them. By doing all this, how can anyone be happy? Because it's total tamoguna, totally thinking I'm this body, and whatever pleasures I get out of the body is the only thing that matters. And beg, borrow, steal, murder, cheat, do anything just for temporary uh, sense gratification. And so they are harmful. They don't have their own self-interest at hand. Why should you take all these things? Cigarettes and drugs and tobacco and so many things. They are harming. They know that it's harming. And then the government also publishes, right, somebody who's having oral cancer. Oh God, it's terrible, gruesome. They make a video of it and send it. See, don't take tobacco. This is all what will happen to you. They see all that and still they continue. That means they really don't love themselves, right? If they really love, they'll fight very hard to come out of that. I want the best for myself. I'm not going to eat or engage in all these kind of cheap gratifications. Because of all these self-destructive practices and the powerful influence of time, the average lifespan, Ayur, is decreasing. Modern scientists seeking to gain credibility among the mass of people often publish statistics supposedly showing that science has increased the average duration of life. But these statistics do not take into account the number of people killed through the cruel practice of abortion. When we figure aborted children into the life expectancy of the total population, we find that the average duration of life has not at all increased in the age of Kali, but is rather decreasing drastically. At that time, abortion was allowed. Now, of course, abortion is not allowed. So, but at that time, that's why he's saying the number of children killed. And if you take an average of life expectancy, then it comes very less. So it is really a cruel practice of abortion. According to the United States Statistical Abstract for 1984, there were about 3.7 million live births in the United States in 1982, and the average life expectancy at birth was 74.5 years. But when the 1.5 million abortions are added to the live births, the average life expectancy for conceived children falls to 53 years. That is in America. I don't know if abortion is also not allowed in America, or maybe some states allow it. Balam, bodily strength, is also decreasing. The Vedic literature states that 5,000 years ago in the previous age, human beings and even animals and plants were larger and stronger. With the progress of the age of Kali, physical stature and strength will gradually diminish. Certainly, Smriti, memory is weakening. In former ages, human beings possessed superior memory, and they also did not encumber themselves with a terrible bureaucratic and technical society as we have done. Thus, essential information and abiding wisdom were preserved without recourse to writing. Of course, in the age of Kali, things are dramatically different. So, we know that our memory is also very poor, and so we have to record everything. Earlier, because people were very strong physically, mentally, intellectually, in all ways, they were strong. So we can see how spiritual decline brings about all the things. And converse is also true. If you become spiritually strong, material things will also improve. The degeneration within India happened because of, we became weak and then we were overpowered. 1,000 years of foreign rule, imagine. It's horrible. And that happened because of spiritual decline. And that is how we became. Otherwise, for how many years, India was the seat of the world. Ruling the whole world, the whole earth. And then, because they lost their spiritual culture and values, they became so weak that they could be um, conquered by these Shudra, like men who made it even worse, converted, all kinds of things happening on this land. But still, Krishna is not, because there are saintly people still living, and because of them, the Sanatan Dharma is preserved. And of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming and giving the purified version of, I mean, topmost. That, of course, that is a special mercy that in this age of Kali, we can see how degraded it is. There's no hope only. For if you see, without Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's thing, where is there any hope? And so maybe all good things are now beginning to happen also because of devotees chanting. We chant, it's not that we have to become rulers or something. Just chanting alone creates all auspiciousness. And now that's why in our country, at least, things are looking up. I hope it lasts for a long time about of this Krishna conscious. I mean, people are, at least more people have developed some faith, and they know, and they are having pride in our culture and belief systems because of self-confidence. And otherwise, we're just slaves of Western culture, and everybody thought that is only progress. And we thought, see, we should not be attached to all our, rituals and our tradition. That is all superstition. They, that's how they interpreted everything. And now people are hopefully waking up. And there's a lot of social media is also helping us to reach out to everybody, the illiterate, the literate, everyone. Hopefully it'll have a awakening, because you can see just reading about it is only so disgusting and so negative. And imagine day after day we have to face all this. Um, that is why now I don't know. In the Bhagavatam, Modi is not mentioned. That one time one person will come from the Himalayas and he will elevate, and Sanatan Dharma will again flourish. I don't know if it's mentioned anywhere. But really, it is very historical fact. The kind of degradation that India was really in every way. And then suddenly there is in the last 9 years, so much of, um, hope has come. And so many people are becoming enthusiastic about religion. So we can see that all this is very important, right? This, whatever is happening now, that is all that is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam also, of course, not the recent thing, but up to so many kings we see it's been mentioned how they will all degrade themselves. So it is of deep concern to us. Devotees should also be very much concerned. We're all part of, everybody is part of Krishna. They may not be chanting, they may not be Krishna conscious, but they're part of Krishna, just like we are part of Krishna. And so we must help. We must become serious about ourselves getting purified and then helping others also. That is very important. That is a Vaishnava. If we just think about ourselves and that's it, that's not Vaishnava. That's a very low quality Vaishnava. Vaishnava means para dukha dukhi. We have to feel sorry. I mean, not sorry, but compassionate. And we want to remove the distress of others. We should not, a Vaishnava cannot tolerate misery of others. That is a Vaishnava. Vaishnava janato tene kahiye je pida parai jane re. One who knows the pida or the suffering of others, who can empathize with what others are feeling also. That is Vaishnava. Materialist, he doesn't care. He's only thinking about himself, all his sense gratification. He doesn't even understand what others are thinking, what their needs are. He doesn't know. He only knows what his senses and mind tell him. A Vaishnav is one who has overcome his sensual, mental, I mean, he has control over that, and he is connected with Krishna. So naturally, he will display spiritual qualities of being not just concerned about himself, but concerned about the well-being of others. That is the sweetness of a Vaishnava. That's why a Vaishnava is so sweet, because he has no, I mean, he has this wonderful quality of having compassion and empathy with others. So that is why Kali Yuga is a horrible age, and the description is most disgusting. It's confirmed also what the level of people, how they think, and how degraded it is. And that's why when you hear any good news that Sanatan Dharma is spreading and more people are becoming religious, then it gives excitement to us. Oh, now I feel like living in this world. Otherwise, it's horrible, and we have to quickly um, purify ourselves so that we can do something. We can become instruments in the hands of Guru and Krishna to set this world right. It's everybody's duty. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given the mandate to everyone. Yare dekha tare kaha Krishna upadesh, amar agnya guru hoy taro iddesh. So we don't have to have false humility. Oh, I'm not qualified. How can I do? I'm nothing. Oh, yeah, we are nothing. But Krishna, he wants us to do. So we do it by his mercy. That is real humility. Humility is not saying, oh, I'm so unqualified, so I can't do anything. That is not humility. That's just laziness and cheating. But if we say, yes, I'm totally unqualified, I'm incapable of doing anything, but I just want to serve you, Krishna. By your empowerment, I can do something. By the mercy of all Vaishnavas, Guru, and you, I can do something. If that is humility, I will do it, but not on my own strength. So that is the only thing worth living for in Kali Yuga. Otherwise, everything is so disgusting. What is there worth living for? And so that is just and because moving with other Vaishnavas, that is the tonic for us. Otherwise, it's horrible. If you just see what is happening, the low level of consciousness of people, how day by day all ridiculous things are happening, and we can easily become depressed and morose hearing all this. But what keeps us going is only this Krishna conscious path, Prabhupada's books, association of devotees, worship, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is what keeps us strong, full of faith, and positive about Krishna's intervention. He says, I have also incarnated as the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's why we should always take shelter of the Mahamantra to solve all the problems. Just like Krishna comes and annihilates all the demons. So Krishna has come in the holy name and he will definitely act. And we have to take complete shelter of the holy name. Then the demons inside us also will disappear. And the demons outside us, they will also be controlled. So many things are attacking us. And without the Hare Krishna mantra, it's just impossible to face Kali Yuga. So we must be very grateful to Vyasadeva for writing the Srimad Bhagavatam, by which we can get full faith in Krishna and his nature. We understand how Krishna is, what is his attitude, what he wants from us. It's all very clear by studying the Srimad Bhagavatam. Those who don't study Bhagavatam, they don't know what is life all about. Nobody knows. They're just going from day to day, something, some enjoyment. That's all how superficial life is. Simply thinking of sense gratification. That's all. How superficial. And only because we are saved, because of chanting, because of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Guru, Vaishnavas, and so we can go deeper into the purpose of life. And even all devotees pray, that will definitely, all the vibrations are protecting the earth from further decay and bringing more auspiciousness. That's also happening. Good things are also happening now. And that is because more people are chanting Hare Krishna mantra. And we should, yes. Unless we become serious in Krishna consciousness, there's no question of happiness. And the minute our chanting becomes purified, then all karmas will be washed off. So we have to strive for that. We can't one by one remove all the dirt. We want wholesale, come fumigate everything. And that is simply here, Hare Krishna mantra, the panacea for all problems. Every problem solution is one. I mean, different way it will manifest, of course, but chanting Hare Krishna mantra and hearing that we do, then Krishna is coming in the holy names and he will set right everything. And that is the only thing we should have complete faith in. Because the mind is fickle. It'll say yes once, then no once. I'm not sure. Yes, no, not sure. So, like this, these three things will, yeah, I believe in Krishna. Then sometimes, why did Krishna do like that? I don't know. And then not sure, like this. No, complete faith that this is the only thing worth living for. And at every moment when we do all our work, it has to be God conscious. That is the excitement. Let me do whatever work it is without expecting any results, only for the purpose of pleasing Krishna. Then we'll become blissful and happy, and we will be beacons of light in this dark world. Imagine, then people will really be so happy. Oh, there are some people who are living a godly life and they are ready to help us also. They need that. If everybody degrades and says, okay, what to do? Everybody is like that. Life is only like that. And we also degrade, then what will happen to this world? We have to have that idealism, and so that for ourselves, for our families, and for other people, they are all part of Krishna. Okay. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Okay, we go for prayers. We pray for to His Holiness, for Guru Maharaj's health, goodness, for his good health, well-being, protection from all diseases, and longevity, and also for his servants and all Srila Prabhupada disciples, all of our devotees and their families. And we pray for rainfall for Karnataka, and we pray for all peace and harmony all over India, within India, and also outside India and rest of the world. And we pray that our center we may be able to open it on, celebrate Gaur Purnima there successfully. And we pray for success for Lingraj Dham for their preaching, and also Srila Prabhupada Dham for their successful preaching. So let us chant 3 times Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Rama
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna, Madhaji. Sorry
yes,
for the